worked all day, minimum wage. Got no relief from the help on it page. I hate this life in every way. Me and my wife all work and no play. Now I'm out on a boat every day, having new fun, no worries about pay. Easy work while the fishermen play, watching time pass as we gently sway. I'm on the sunny side of paradise. Fishing's great, I got beer on nights. I'm on the sunny side of paradise. Life is great, love this island life. Summers are warm, winters are too. Tourists coming down instead of turning blue. Hotels are packed, the tiki bars are cool, all ready to party and dance by the pool. I'm on the sunny side of paradise. The fishing's great, I got beer on nights. I'm on the sunny side of paradise. Life is great, I love this island life. Key Largo down to Key West, the blue waters here are truly the best. So for a killer tan and a local cold beer, put your ass in the car and get down here. We're on the sunny side of paradise. The fishing's great, we got beer on ice. We're on the sunny side of paradise. Life is great, we love this island life. We're on the sunny side of paradise. The fishing's great, we got beer on ice. We're on the sunny side of paradise. We're on the sunny side of paradise. We're on the sunny side of paradise. We're on the sunny side of paradise.
Get ready to cruise into a world of country music and lively conversation with the Dave Roush Show, exclusively on Cruisin' Country Radio every Monday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Join host Dave Roush as he brings you the best of country tunes, along with engaging interviews, entertaining segments, and a whole lot of fun. Whether you're a diehard country fan or just looking for a good time, tune in and the Dave Roush Show be your ultimate destination for Monday evenings. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Dave Roush Show. I'm Dave Roush, and yes, we're live on CruisinCountryRadio.com. Cruisin' Country Radio is a sister station to RadioA1A.com and ParadiseRoadRadio.com. At this time, I'd like to thank Harry T., our general manager, for giving us a chance to have this show and go live. And I am live from my studio here in Ajijic, Mexico. Tonight, I have the awesome privilege to talk with the co-writer of the song you just heard, and myself, Mr. Chuck Freeman from Top Duck Music. Welcome to the show, Chuck. How's it going in Alamrada?
Doing great. Thank you for having me on the show, number one. Number two, I'm very excited to be talking on a radio station broadcasting live from Mexico. That is outstanding and great to be on the show tonight. Thanks for having us in here in Alamorada. The weather is beautiful.
Oh, yeah, it's that way here too. 85, 86, and a little breezy. So lately I've been seeing you on Facebook everywhere, Chuck. You are a busy gentleman, you and your lovely wife, Linda. Looks like you're having some fun.
Absolutely. I mean, I tell this at the shows we do. Most musicians, when they start a show, the first thing they do, hey, how's everybody doing? We don't have to do that because if you're in the Florida Keys, I'm pretty sure I know how you're doing. You're doing great. So, that part of it's easy. The Keys is the draw. We're just here to help them kind of enjoy it. And, after a long career of road work and session work and so on and so forth, we're kind of taking it easy down here, except for playing some music 4 or 5 nights a week while we can, and really enjoying ourselves. Linda is absolutely my secret weapon down here. The audiences love her, and we're having a lot of fun.
Well, that's kind of like semi-retired, right?
Kind of semi-retired, and I don't think you got the mileage I got. You're still a youngster, but, after a while, you kind of start trying to retire, but I'm not sure, in the music business, I'm not sure what retirement means anymore. I like to play and I can still play, and I guess I'll do it till I can't.
That as long as your fingers work, and your vocal works, being retired in music is just having fun, I think,
Oh, absolutely. And I work with some folks down here, and that seems to be the mantra. When it's not fun, I don't want to do it, and there's no reason not to have fun because there's some really talented folks down here in the Keys, retired, seasonal, so on and so forth. And I've had a chance to play with a whole bunch of them, and every one of them brings something different to the table, from Key Largo to Key West, and I met a bunch of them. It's always fun to jam with them. It's fun to professionally play with them. It's a really nice situation.
It's a really tight community. People that go to the Keys, they think, wow, it's like a 135-mile string of islands. There's a lot of people there. Marathon and Key West and Key Largo have vast numbers of people in them, and tourists constantly there. I mean, I don't think there's really a slow time for tourism there. But, the music industry there is very small.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. And I think Linda and I we kind of backdoored into this. We came down here, after my mother passed just to kind of get away from everything. I had a new album coming out and we were just trying to decompress, and, we stayed here, where we stay in Alamorada, and got to know some people. There's a musician that stayed here, Roger Sylvie. I met Roger, and Roger, was kind of, a seasonal player that came down here. We went and heard some of his things, and, I believe about that time we heard some of the things you were doing, some people you were hanging with, but really had no intentions of moving here to play or anything like that. And of course, the indefatigable Harry T was, stationed here then, and I had known Harry for a few years by playing, coming down here, and just kind of backed into, hey, could you help us out? Sure. And then a guy called me one day and said, I need a guitar player tonight. And I'm like, well, okay. And then I guess the rest just kind of sorted itself out.
Yeah, history. I remember sitting behind my drum kit at the Key Largo Moose, and Harry said, we got a cool dude from Tennessee coming in. And I was like, all right. And you walked up on the stage and you blew me away. I was just like, whoa. I was in awe. Linda came up and sang, and I was like, oh my goodness. I'm in heaven. I mean, I was new there, and I'm just a drummer and a singer, and I was just like, man, this dude can pick the guitar. I was like,
well, thank you.
I was like, wow, and then I really didn't know you. I didn't know who you were. And then we got to know each other, and I was like, wow, you're it.
Well, thank you. Double thank you. And I know Linda, with thank you also. I've been with London for many, many years. The guitar playing I started at a young age, and if I have any skills at it, it's mainly because of the folks that have worked with me over the years and patiently corrected the dumb stuff I did and said, why don't you do this instead? And I've had the good fortune to work with some incredible musicians over the year, and especially guitar players who have taken the time to say, to work with me and make whatever skill sets I have a little better,
Oh my goodness. Yes. So are you gigging regular down there?
The season is pretty well, we're into, I guess they call it the shoulder, May, the main season is pretty well done with until into October, early November. And a lot of the places that it had, that still do have live entertainment have kind of switched from, bands to solos and duos. And some of the people I know here, Donnie McDaniels, who I've worked with for over the last 3 or 4 years, and others, Rick R. have introduced me to people that said, hey, we need duos now. Ty Thurman has been incredibly, helpful to us to help us find gigs. And, so we've kind of made it into the rotation, to play at various areas in Alamorada and Marathon. So to answer your question with a long answer, yeah, we're working 4 or 5 nights a week. And I predict possibly next month that'll slow down. Like, I was a little tired this week. I worked 5 or 6 nights in a row, and I'm not a spring chicken anymore. So we were talking about maybe in June cutting it back to 3 or 4 nights a week. And then of course by July and August, it'll start slowing down because it'll get warmer. But that's kind of where we're at. And the people here, they're really, there's no bad venues. There's, the restaurants, Porky's, the resorts, Tranquility Bay, Skipjack's, Havana Jacks, Alabella. These are all quality properties, and the people that work there. I mean, they're dedicated to doing one thing, providing a good, vacation, and visit to those who come down to stay with them. So you're just part of the team.
Man, you just answered my next question. I was going to ask you, tell us where you're playing next. And,
I'll go ahead and answer that. We'll be at Tranquility Bay tomorrow night. We're kind of in residency over on Tuesday nights. I'm finishing up, this has been a really good month for me at Havana Jacks. I've gotten to front the band, the Lady A Blues Band, because, the lead singer, Rick's wife, Agnes, has been on vacation. And so we've been the Lady A Orphans all month through the 5 Wednesdays. And I've gotten to be Lady A, not that I could ever be Lady A.
You look funny in a dress.
Yeah. And I told Rick I wasn't wearing pantyhose, so that was out of the question. So, but it's been a lot of fun, and we've had some different players in there. John Mavis, Bob Yeager, Bongo Bob, Saul, Bradman is his last name. And a good wish out Saul. Saul that hernia surgery this week. We understand he's doing well, and we want to send out prayers and good thoughts to Saul. He's a super nice guy. Anyway, that's been a lot of fun. Wednesday night will be our last night there. Friday night we're in residencies at, Barnacle Barney's, down in, Marathon on the Gulf side, Bayside. Sunday night we'll be at Porky's Barbecue, which is almost as you leave Marathon, and they've been there forever. World class, barbecue food, believe it or not, world class sushi. I never in my life did I think I would go to a place that sold barbecue and sushi, but after all, it's the Florida Keys,
Right, exactly. It's not even an oxymoron. It's part of barbecue.
Yeah, it's just part of it, and then they're real good folks. And they're there right before you hit the 7 Mile Bridge, and, we'll be there Sunday night. I'll be filling in for Ty Thurman. Ty is the regular there. So, that's this week. And then next month we pretty much, in and out of some of the other places. We got some feelers out and some phone calls going in I always talk to the people, you know, and say, let's make sure that you're right for us and we're right for you, you know. And so far, everybody we've talked to been is incredibly helpful and it's worked out. I don't like to go to a place and say, hey, I don't think, you know, and that just doesn't happen in the Keys. It's just too nice down here.
It is. I know you mentioned Donnie McDaniel, and funny, I got a chance to play with Donnie and Roger Sylvie and Dave and Deb Bless and in Whitney and Four Sheets there at Skipjack's, and I know you've been there. What a wonderful little.
Once you're a sheet, you're always a sheet.
Right. I don't know how many sheets I was to the wind, but never probably.
Yeah. Donnie is a great guy. He retired and picked up the guitar, I don't know, 10 or 12 years ago. I told him, I said, if there was like an award for the guy that has made the most progress over the years based on their ability to play a song, he would win it, because every year when we start season again, I'm amazed that he gets better and better. He's already was a good singer. He's a good player, great front man. Audiences love him. And he, once again, Donnie, I can honestly say Donnie is dedicated to one principle: make the folks that come down here and spend their hard-earned money go home with a nice experience.
Absolutely. And the people at Skipjack's, they're just wonderful there.
Oh, amen, brother. Good folks.
They treated me with crazy. I mean, being a drummer, I had to tote my drums back and forth from Key Largo to Marathon, and they said, well, here, put them in this room over here. So I didn't have to do that. I was like, wow, you guys are awesome.
There you go.
They were awesome. Like, I don't get that very often, you know, but it's a hotel, you know. And the venues down there, like you said, they're awesome. I mean, we played at Hog Heaven, which is a big venue there. It's always crowded. And then we'd go down to, Lou Key at the little big tiki bar there. I love that place. It's such a wonderful stage. I don't know if you had a chance to go down there and play, or.
I haven't played there. I've been by there. I played Boondocks. You never know. Right now, I'm kind of concentrating on the duo thing. And of course, one of the things I'm kind of concentrating on the new guy on the label, my boy Justin Wright, and, making sure we get his career going off to a good start, which I think it is.
I think I talked to Justin last Monday, and, yeah, he's got a heck of a career ahead of him. I do believe. I mean, I really like his style. His band is tight, you know, and they've got the sound.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I've been hearing this, you know, over the years, I've played a lot of different genres and toured and done this, that, with this, that, and the other. And back in the 80s and 90s, I played with some country acts and, you know, that were in traditional country mode. And then, you know, we kind of moved into country, like everything else evolved into the bro country and tractor rap and things like that. And then, you know, a lot of people in Nashville were going, oh, we've got to get back to country, you know, and I think, you know, that's cool too. And I think Justin brings a really unique, kind of a Waylon Jennings, feel to it. And, when I first met him and he sprung some of the songs on me, I knew some of the guys he had worked with, and I was excited. I'll be honest with you, you know, I was excited and I get a lot of stuff sent to me, and I was glad to hear, you know, something cross my desk that excited me, and I like him. He's an incredible fellow, nice guy, and I certainly hope that he does well. He deserves it. He works hard.
Yeah, I agree. We've been, since I made contact with him, Justin, I think we talk every day. You know, we kind of have a project going together, but that's on the DL, right? Anyway, I wanted to kind of go back to early Chuck, and let's talk
early Chucky.
Let's talk about Senior Freeman back in the good old days when you started.
Okay. You know, it's really, you were talking about the Key Largo Moose, and we played up there, Jenny, Barefoot Jenny. I think you know Jenny.
Jenny Newman. Yeah.
Yeah. Jenny and I have worked together on several occasions. And, Jenny was on bass and I was on guitar and Bill Hewlett was on drums in this version of the Sheets, and Donnie was out front, and we played the Key Largo Moose on a Saturday night. But it was one of the last times that they had live music. And a guy walked up to me on the break, and I guess he saw my pretty white hair, and said, you really look like you've done this for a long time. And, it's obvious that you know how to play. And I said, well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. He said, how long have you been doing this? And I really had to say, well, wait a minute, let me think. So I just kind of sit down on the bench there and think about it. And I thought, well, wow. And it clicked, and I realized that I had played my first professional gig where you got paid some money, show up, set up a PA, you're dressed up, you have a live audience that paid to hear you play, and and it was in 1966.
I was 6 years old.
I laughed and he said, wow. And he said, well, that's something, I think he was saying under his breath, well, I thought you'd been a little better,
I don't believe I said that out loud.
Yeah. Anyway, and if I remember correctly, we got paid $20 and I don't mean 20 a piece. I think the whole band got $20. And I think there was like 4 guys, and in that band, I think I was just a singer, if I remember correctly. But anyway, that was many, many years ago.
1966. Yeah. And where were you at in Tennessee?
In Tennessee. I grew up in Memphis on the outskirts there, went to Bartlett High School. And of course the Memphis scene in music was, heavily blues, soul, kind of, the British invasion was beginning to take hold, but Memphis was still solidly Elvis.
Right.
It was rock and roll. It was Elvis. All of the bands in Memphis, Tennessee in the 60s, they were all somebody and the somebodies, Tommy Burke and the Counts, Randy and the Radiants. All of the bands had a front guy and then his posse, and everybody emulated them. We were the rebels. We weren't cutting our hair,
down past your ears, man. You're a hippie.
We were trying to find out who the heck we were, unfortunately, I went to college then and played, up the road in Jackson, Tennessee, where we lived for a long time, and didn't do well there. So, I got invited to go be in the Army for a while. So that kind of ended my music career for a while. But when I got back, I was in Columbus, Georgia. And of course, I had played while I was in the Army just to keep my skill sets up. And I was playing a little place called the Hungry Hunter. I think it was like 72, 73, somewhere like that, trying to go to college and so on. And a guy came in one night and, he said he was with the Holiday Inns. And anyway, to make a long story short, I know we're got a time limit here.
You talk as much as you want to, man.
Anyway, I found myself on the road with a band doing Holiday Inns all over everything east of the Mississippi, from Montgomery, Alabama to Mobile to, Defiance, Ohio, and everything in between. And back in the day then, all of the Holiday Inns were exactly the same. If it was a blue bench spread and a picture of a boat on the wall in the bedroom in Defiance, Ohio, it was also in Bowling Green and Memphis, and they were all the same.
Cookie cutter.
And so sometimes you didn't know where you were,
You kept sleeping in the same dang, motel room, but you was in a different, town.
And that lasted for, I don't know, till about 77. Had a lot of fun and got to play a lot of music and stuff. And I finally had gotten my degree and I moved back to Memphis and decided I wanted to teach school. I was going to teach school and, I don't know, next thing some guys called me up from a rock band and said, hey, we're just going to drink some beer and play some rock and roll. What could possibly go wrong?
Drinking and rock and rolling.
Yeah. A year later, we were on the road, with a deal and, playing major rock and roll clubs in the South. And, anyway, that was my first experience with a really, really professional rock and roll band traveling and touring. And I wrote a song about it called Keep Playing the Music, and, we recorded that at Art Studio in Memphis, and, we had a little EP out for a while. And, by then it was, the late 70s and kind of started going off the rails, as you can well imagine. I think Joe Walsh summed it up. Somebody asked him one time, were there things he regretted in his life? And he said, well, there's a couple of periods in my life that I don't have a really good recollection or remembrance of. And they said, what was that? And he said, the 70s and the 80s.
Right.
I was there and anyway, but, we had a chance to record some things and made lifelong friends with these guys I played with. God bless them. R.I.P. Out of the band, only two of us are left. After all those years, we had a lot of fun and made some great music. So that was pretty much my early roots.
So that's awesome. I mean, now my question I've been dying to ask for a little bit, who did you emulate back when you first started? Who was your muse, your inspiration to rock and roll?
Well, I think honestly, it's the 60s. I was listening with one ear to Elvis Presley. I loved it. I loved the blues. Any of the Kings, black blues, traditional blues, Albert, Freddie, BB, all of that, Ben E, just, man, the licks. You've heard me play guitar and I know you heard a lot of that. That's kind of my feel, my movement to playing things. But the one that struck me was when the Kingsmen came out with that cover of Louie Louie. I lost it. I said, that's it. That's what I want to do.
Nice.
I heard that cheesy solo, that iconic solo in Louie Louie. That floated my boat, as they say. I said, I love this. So that was kind of where my head was,
That's awesome. Speaking of blues, there's a place here, it's called La Bodega, and last night was their first blues jam. And this really, really, really good guitar player, David Garfinkel, put it together with a bunch of local musicians, and Jeanette and I went last night, and man, it's what we were looking for, is a really cool blues club, and great food. Yeah, I had a blast. I got up and sang a couple songs, and I did my thing. But we've been missing that, the blues.
Yeah, there are. Speaking of the blues, we played Tranquility Bay Tuesday night, and one of my, speaking of iconic guitar players, Joe Bonamassa was there.
No way.
Yeah, and I didn't really know it. It was kind of hot, and the way the stage is set, the light was kind of. I'd taken a break, and my wife and I were talking to some friends of ours. Thank you for coming out, blah blah. And there's a guy in a black T-shirt and a hat over there, and I'm like, man, this guy looks familiar, and he's kind of, hey, what's up, dude? Hey, what's up, dude? And then we went up to finish our last set. He waved at us, took a couple pictures, and walked off. And my wife said, Linda said, man, that looked just like Joe Bonamassa. And I'm like, nah, it couldn't be Joe Bonamassa. What would he, and then on the way home, my friend Rick Ara texted me, man, do you know who was at your gig tonight? It's all over the Facebook now. I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, Joe Bonamassa was there.
That's incredible.
He was in town fishing. I mean, that, that kind of stuff happens down there,
You never know who's going to be at your show. You never know. And that's just incredible. Joe, if you're listening, hey, thanks for hanging out with my buddy Chuck here. Come back and do it again.
Anyway, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a highlight in your life, that you didn't even know was there almost,
Yeah, pretty much, I've hung with Harry for several years, and if you hang with Harry, you get to meet some folks. I have
Absolutely.
a pretty good relationship with Bertie Higgins, the guy that wrote Key Largo.
I seen a picture with you guys You, him, and Harry doing a radio show.
Yeah, he was. The way I met him is that Harry had asked me to be, like a guest commentator on music. We had some songs out, and I said, yeah, Bertie's got a few million songs out himself, So we're sitting there talking before the show, and they're doing the sound check, getting the levels ready, and Bertie says, yeah, you're from Memphis? I said, yes, sir. And he goes, well, I bet you don't know Bill Marshall. He played drums on my first album, the one that had Key Largo. I said, Bertie, it just so happens I went to school with in that period with Bill Marshall. I do know him. I've known Bill Marshall all my life. He played with Survivor, Target, several bands over the years. The Bama Band. He was Hank Williams Jr.
Hank Williams Jr.
Yeah.
Nice.
So anyway, that small world, that's the one thing you find the older I get. I mean, we're kind of like dinosaurs roaming the earth. There's very few of us left.
Yeah, you're slow, but you're good, man.
Yeah. I always laugh, but I just, it's been an incredible journey. What can I say? I've done some stupid things, but I think the stupid things, they're part of what make you too, so you just,
we're musicians.
Yeah. And God knows I have tried to retire from this business probably. And this is the God's truth. I think I've got pencil paper out the other day. The time I spent from say 60 to the time I was say 16 to 60 is one set of gigs. Since I turned 60, I think I've played more gigs.
More than you did when you were younger.
I don't know. I tried to quit. I got involved with casino work about, when I turned, 59 or 60. I was done. I was going to work as a carpenter, and the guy said, hey, you want to go play a couple of gigs? I said, no, man, I'm done. He said, oh, come on, man. I need a bass player. I said, okay. And I ended up working with this guy for 3 years doing like 250 dates a year at casinos.
Nice.
And then I met Mickey. Don't forget the Whiskey Mickey. Worked with him for about a year. Then I decided, that I had some records. When you write, you know what it's like. It's like you got to pop that pimple. I got to get this down. I want to do this. And, I saved my nickels and dimes and, started a label, and we started to record some records. And then, and then some other people trusted us with their stuff. I hooked up with Wes Henley, which that'll be another story for you down the road.
Yes, sir.
With an incredible career.
Oh my
and
goodness.
We hooked up with a really great partnership to put out several really good records, So,
well, while we're on the subject, why don't we just jump right into Tough Duck music?
All right.
Tell us a little bit about, how it came. I mean, I think you were leading up to where you just got to making your label. Give us a little more.
Our home, when we're not here is in Tennessee, in Jackson, Tennessee, the home of Carl Perkins. And I knew, just tons of music, really, really good musicians up there, that I'd worked with over the years. And a fellow named Jimmy Exum, had decided that he wanted to get music, get recorded music going again in Jackson. Since Carl Perkins' death, music had kind of died with him in Jackson, and he was determined to bring back rockabilly music like Perkins had played, but to get in. So he built a studio there, hired a really good engineer kid from, Jackson, Mississippi named Bridges Hallwell, and I was one of his first studio musicians working there, doing other people's stuff. And Bridges and I he was he could have been my grandson, but he was just a really cool guy, and him and Linda and me, we got to be buds, and I watched him do some stuff. And I finally said, Bridges, I want to do a project and I want you to engineer it, but I'm going to be the producer. And that's how the album Running from Love came to be. I had written a bunch of songs while I was on the road with the Tommy Akers band doing casino work. And the first project, I didn't know that it would become a label. Right then, I just wanted to get these 9 or 10 songs that I had written down on tape. And so, we started with Running from Love, which was a story that I wrote about a young lady that I met in Arkansas playing. and I wanted to tell the story because I kind of connected with what she was doing. She was standing in front of a jukebox with a long neck beer in her hand, and a cigarette in the other hand, trying to play the jukebox when it was time to go home. And I was tearing my gear down, and she looked up at me and kind of smiled, and I could see what she used to be, and I wanted to tell that story.
Nice.
And I think we did. And we got other people, some really talented folks came on board to help us with that project. And we got it got picked up by a couple of stations, and some other people called me, and I talked to the guy that owned the studio, and he says, man, what you need to do is go to Nashville. So I went to Nashville. I got up to Nashville, and I met with but once again, some people I knew from back in the day that were big wigs in either studios or in ASCAP and so on. And I gave them the thing. They said, well, dude, you're a record company. I said, what do you mean? He says, most people come to Nashville, come with, words on a napkin and an acoustic guitar and pitch a song. You got the finished product. That means you're a record label. I said, huh. So we got loaded up. We came back home and ordered some records made from it and started selling the records. And, my wife and I talked, and I said, well, I guess we need to set up a company and let's call it something. And Linda's maiden name was Duck. And she's tough as nails. And it just I wanted that logo with the bowler hat on his head with the tough duck, smoking a cigar.
That's amazing.
Hey, listen to this record or else,
Right. Hey, I'll rough you up.
And that's how, so we eventually incorporated and we had some people and believed at what we were doing. And we have some partners down in Texas, that invested. So, the folks that came on board and next thing I knew it, we're up to our eyeballs, people saying, hey, will you do this or you do that? Or we'd like you to hear that.
Wow.
We did a religious project. And I think the biggest help that we had was that in 2013, Mickey had called me. I'd known Mickey since he was a little kid. And I was working in one of the country and western cowboy places in Jackson. There were a zillion of them back in the day. And I think he came in and sang at one of the contests when he was 16. And I hadn't really kept up with him, but he had a nice little career going, and he'd done 2 or 3 albums. And he just got off a cruise ship. He says, man, I love the way Running from Love sounds. I want you to produce my next record. And I said, okay. So he came, we met, and he had written a song called Get It, Get It, and which included the Don't Forget the Whiskey song and a song called You, Me in Tennessee. So we brought everybody in the studio, and this included once again, some incredible studio musicians, including Chad Caprio on guitar. Chad is currently on tour with Tanya Tucker.
Nice.
Michael Williams was on bass. Michael Williams was the road manager for Toby Keith's development company, Red Pony, Wild Horses, maybe. Anyway, so he was, on bass, and Nicky had written the songs. We brought Dave Thomas, who had played on, he plays with Tropics with me, and to play keys, and Kimberly Helton, we produced some stuff for her, came in and sang on it. And all of the songs did well on Get It, Get It, went on to become a label song for, a manufacturer down on the Gulf Coast. You, Me in Tennessee was adopted by the state to sponsor, the Keep Tennessee Beautiful campaign for 2014. I think every year they get that was a big deal. We got awards for it and everything. And don't forget the whiskey got us our first #1 record.
Nice.
So, and then it kind of got a little wild and crazy there for a while. But, anyway, that's kind of came to be. In fact, that led to me going to, Florida and working, I was incredibly fortunate in my tropical phase of my career, I guess, when I met Steve Hopper. He had heard some of the stuff we played, and I was supposed to go on a cruise. I was going out with Royal Caribbean to do a cruise out of Galveston in 2016. And 2 days before we were gone, they found an anomaly in my physical, and long story short was, I got left on the beach. So I had no gig in 2016. I'm going, well, Hopper called me and said, hey, I'm going to Florida. I need a guitar player. And I said, what are you playing? He says, trop rock. And I'm like, what's that? And he says, Jimmy Buffett music. I said, oh, he says, can you play Margaritaville? I said, yeah, I think I can stumble through that. And, we came to Florida and played, when we came through Key Largo, we played the Crib and ended at Casa Marina.
Nice.
So that was just that was just a tour, of Florida. And that was my first inkling that I thought, man, I like this place.
I have a song on my set list of originals. It's called One Way to Paradise, and it's about coming to the Keys and hitting the first club, the Crib and all the way down to Key West. That's every musician that wants to go down to the Keys and do that. I mean, I really didn't even think I was going to be a musician when I went down there, but I'd already been, but a long time ago in the military. And
yeah, I was in the same boat. I had done that, the things with Steve, and, the crown jewels of the tropical rock and roll industry are Meeting of the Minds, the Party Gras, and Music on the Bay. And my first 3 gigs with Steve Hopper were those 3 events.
That's a heck of a thing.
I'm serious. So I got to do I hit the trifecta. I'd like to think I had the skill sets to do it, but some of it was just good old luck and God smiling,
right.
Being in the right place at the right time. And, I got to meet a lot of folks and one of which was Harry Tiford. Harry and I were 2 old guys, and Harry had come up through the Holiday Inn circuit also back in the day. So, we had kind of a shared history. We both had played bass with major label name acts. I'd gone back to playing guitar by then. And I was amazed by that. Harry was a pretty good, well, not amazed, but, pleasantly surprised because I got to play with him some. And Harry was a damn good bass player.
Yeah.
And had a lot of fun,
He's got a really unique style.
I'm sorry?
I said he's got a really unique style. I like Harry T. I got the chance to play with him and Stephen R. Miller. I played the drums with him in, Blackwater Sound, and man, I'll tell you what, those 2 guys, just let them go. I just kind of tried to stay in the pocket.
Yeah, I certainly hope that Stephen is making a recovery. I understand he's doing better.
All our best wishes from Cruisin' Country Radio, Radio A1A, and Paradise Road out to Stephen. We did a benefit for Stephen. The bad thing about insurance in anywhere but like the United States, if you're a musician, it's tough to be insured, he was he ran out of money for the surgery, and he's been.
Yeah, no, when people my age started playing music, especially and further back, 50s and 60s, insurance and getting to be old were the last things on our mind.
Right.
We wanted to play music. We wanted to tell our story, or we wanted to party, or whatever the reasons. But old age, retirement, Social Security, all of the things that you need to think about, get left along the road somewhere,
Well, they were in the back burner of your mind. You're young, dumb, and having fun.
Well, and when, when you're touring most time, it's like being in the military. They get you from place to place, and feed you, make sure you get,
oh yeah,
get up on the stage and do your thing, go back, pack your bags, go to the next place, the music course changed a lot. We're in the digital age now. Now it's all on this thing we're talking on. It's all out there in the internet. And the doors have opened. Is that a good, that would be a whole different story. Is this a good thing? I don't know. We'll find out. And of course, we're fixing to add AI, artificial intelligence, to the mix too. Is that, that's, to be discovered,
There's a whole new ballgame right there.
Yeah. I've always thought that music is all about telling a story, and setting that with a rhyme scheme and music that the words were what you were selling and the music was the vehicle that carried it to the ears of the listener, you know?
Right.
And you gotta, you know, of course, and then having the hook, the lead line, there's, you know, if someone hits the first, notes to Stairway to Heaven, you know what they're going to play. Brown Eyed Girl, you know, you know what's coming, you know.
Jeanette does that all the time. Like I can name that song. Oh, 2 notes. Got it.
Yeah. So, and that's part of it. And I think I'd hate to see us lose those types of things as we move into the digital world. That's why I'm glad I get to meet people like Justin, you know.
Give a shout out to him. He's listening.
Yeah. And, anyway, we're working on, got somebody sent me some lyrics that I think, that I've worked with before, and I'm kind of fine tuning them. I think they're going to be real good for Justin. We'll get back in there. He's been up in Nashville tracking, and, we're keeping an eye on him and so forth. You know, we're excited. You know, it's sad that the monetary part of it doesn't reward people as much as I think they should be for their talent and the artistry that they've, you know, the creativity they've shown. And really, you know, I mean, even down here, I go over to the Florida Brewery here, a guy singing a song about the Florida Keys. That's incredible. You know, with an acoustic guitar, and he's telling us a great story. And I'm thinking, you know, what the value there is incredible, you know, but the price tag on it's horrible.
You got that right. I mean, you and I were talking the other day about musician pay. Everybody in the whole wide world thinks that you're on stage, you're playing an instrument, you're singing a song, and my God, you're making the big bucks. Well, they're wrong, because you and I both know that, the term starving artist is real.
Yeah. Well, and it's, once again, nobody held a gun to our head and said we had to do it.
No, but if it was about the money, I mean, the guy going down the road gigging, you know, doing gig work in town, local here, bars, you know, hopping bars, if it was about the money, you wouldn't be doing it. You do it because you love it.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, at this stage of the game for me, I'm at the point in my life where I could go sit in the hammock, you know, till they come and throw me back on the beach, you know.
Right.
And I don't want to do that. And, you know, the other part of it is I would like to get compensated for, years of paying dues, I guess, for lack of a better term.
I understand that.
But it's, the other part of it is, you know, and I've mentored, as I've mellowed over the years, I mentor sometimes, and I teach kids, and I just tell them, if you want to go for it, go for it. Just don't do it for the wrong reasons. Stay true to your beliefs. Stay true to what you're trying to say to your audience, you know. You do that, you know, normally the rewards will come, you know.
Absolutely. I saw somebody on social media said, why do you play music? Or he said something to that effect. Why do you play music or what? And my answer was, I play to the audience because they're the ones that came to see you. I don't play for any other reason. It's to the audience. That's my belief, is you got to put the show on. You know, and make life happen.
Yeah. Another part of it is, over the years, you know, most musicians learn something else to do too, you know, for the meantime. So you do that too. And the flip side of it is, you know, my dad was a career Navy guy. My dad was a session drummer, and I never knew a lot of this till after he'd passed. There were weekends that he would go play, to make $20, put some extra food on the table.
Nice.
So, you know, And I've been in that position too, where if I didn't have a day job and somebody called up and said, "Hey, I need a guy to go to Minnesota for 3 months to play bass and it pays X number of dollars," usually I would not be in a position where I could say, "Well, I don't want to do it," because that was the path I had chosen. So I got in the band and went.
Right. And
fortunately, the woman I'm with and that I am married to has always been understanding to that and supportive of that.
That's a big thing right there. Support of your loved ones, especially your partner. You have to have that. I know Jeanette's at every one of my shows and she's right there. She's my biggest critic but she's also my biggest fan.
Mm-hmm. No, I get that. When we're doing a show somewhere, I've watched Linda develop over the years, and I tell her about it. Linda and I have been together for many years. I'm not going to say how many because a gentleman would not do that because that would lead you to guess her age. I said, but we're at the stage of our relationship where she finishes my sentences. Unfortunately,
Right?
she starts them too. But it's all good, and I couldn't have got a better mate in life, and she's,
Linda is amazing.
And plus she can sing her butt off.
Yes, she can. And that's a cool thing too. Yeah. Is your partner's right there on stage?
Yeah, I got to tell you this. I tell this story. We do a song by Patsy Cline, the old standard "Crazy," and I always tell the audience. I said this. I met Linda when I was working with a Nashville guy back in the day at a Holiday Inn in Jackson, and on Wednesday night, they would have a open mic type thing, and we'd be playing, and they would have a sign up sheet, and if you won, you got some drink tickets. And Linda came in there one night, never laid eyes on her, and she walked up the stage, and I said, "Well, young lady, what would you like to do?" She said, "I'd like to sing Crazy by Patsy Cline. Can y'all do that?" And I said, "Can you sing it?" She says, "I think so." And got up there and absolutely nailed it. And the rest is history.
The rest is history, and you've got some history. That's what I like about the music. We just have fun. We out there, we have fun, and no better place in the whole wide world than to have fun down there in the Florida Keys.
And it's, it's like, there are, if you get 10 musicians together, you'll get 10 different opinions and attitudes, but that's part of the music business. But I think the community, from what I've seen, when someone needs help, everybody stands up to help. If there's a benefit, we did a benefit for Bob Buns, and I was amazed at the people that came to play. It was real hot, and it was a freebie, and everybody showed up, took their turn, and had a great turnout. And things, that's part of what we do too.
I think,
and that was good.
I think musicians like fundraisers.
I think so.
I mean, I love doing them because you know what? It's there for a great reason. And Bobby Buns, man, I got to sing with him. I got to, perform with him. He's just amazing performer.
He is. He was, when I met him in his restaurant one day, and he said, "Aren't you the guy that?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, we got to play some music." And I never got the chance until I played, ended up playing with, Tony and Gigi some, in the Taylor King band, and he came up and did some stuff, and I was gaga. I was like, wow, this guy's cool, and of course, Tony and Gigi are another story too. They're iconic Keys musicians.
That's how I got my start. Was they let me come up and sing with them?
Yeah, they're good folks. I think of all the folks that sometimes I really can go off the rails with Tony. He's an incredible guitar player.
Oh my goodness.
so we can just get up there. And Jenny told me, she says, I don't know what happens there, but you sure do get happy. And I said, well, you don't have to go by the script. You don't have to do the set list. You just get up there. And if I want to try some crazy line while he backs me up or vice versa, it can happen. And if it doesn't work, who cares? So, that's a lot of fun, So.
That's how the magic is made. It's, I see the videos you guys done and I'm like, oh man, I am so jealous because before you came down, I mean, I left and you moved down there and we'd been talking and you were hopefully going to be there earlier and you didn't. And it just, we happened to pass, and
yeah, no, I had that one bad year.
And I'm like, oh man, look at this. There's Chuck Freeman and Tony Taylor up on the same stage and I'm not there. But you know what? You still get to see the video and you get to hear it. And, like you said, Tony Taylor is an amazing guitar player.
He is absolutely the real deal.
Yeah.
And it was exciting because I'd met him a few years back and he had, we were kind of like two dogs circling the fire hydrant, Jenny had put this thing together. And so we come off the first set and he's kind of, well, who are you? And I'm like, well, who are you? And then we realized, and I said, wow, I said, I know you are. You're Tony with G. Yeah. And he said, oh, you're the one that had Buffalo. Yeah. So, it was fun. Tony's a good guitar player and he introduced me, we got, probably the legend down here, I guess would be Jimmy Hawkins and we got to play behind Jimmy a couple of times.
Yeah.
That was always a gas.
Jimmy's a great musician. His son Felix is a heck of a musician. There's so many good musicians down there. And one thing is really, really cool, Chuck, in all of my life, you sat in my band with me one day at the OV and I will never, ever, ever, ever forget that. That was an amazing day for me.
Well, it was fun.
Yeah.
I'm always amazed at the music, especially when you come to the Florida Keys, see all these tiki huts, all these coconut, it's, and all this sand, you think everything's going to be Buffett, island music, blah, 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 and there's a lot of that and it's all good. Jimmy Buffett was an amazing artist, but a lot of times you get somewhere with some folks and all of a sudden, the first time I met Rick Ora in the Lady A band, here's a blues band in one of the biggest tiki huts, down there at Havana Jacks playing the blues.
Right.
I fell off my stool. I'm like, cause I expected, island, this.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. Yeah. And they were really good and tight and doing stuff that I cut my teeth on when I was growing up playing the blues. And the first thing Rick said to me, you got your rig with you? You want to play a set? Well, I do.
As a matter of fact, I never travel anywhere without my guitar.
And next thing I know, I'm up on stage playing Down Home Blues by ZZ Hill, with a bunch of folks I never met before in my life. So, it's all good. Anyway.
Well, you know what, Chuck? We gone and done it.
I just looked at my watch there and I saw, wow.
We have not played one song. So we're going to do a part 2 of Chuck Freeman because there is so much more that I want to find out about you and then I want to break down your songs and you sent me 9 of them. I think that's almost a whole show where we can just go through and
sure.
And sit and listen to them and just have fun and just let you do your own color commentary on your own songs,
I'd love to. Just give me a little notice and I thank you for having me on the show. I thank you and Harry and all of the staff at Radio A1A and Cruising Country and Paradise Road. As far as I'm concerned, Harry has been the Pied Piper of tropical, Americana music for many, many years. He may not know it, but I love him to death. And he has given so many people, so many people, a chance to have their music played on the radio.
Absolutely.
And if there's something cooler than that, in that sense, I don't mean like getting married or watching your child stuff, but watching your child of music come to life and being played on a radio station is pretty cool, you know?
Well, Chuck,
and
thank you so much for being on the show, man. And,
thanks for having me, and tell your beautiful bride we said howdy, and hopefully we'll either get to, where you're at, or you'll get back to where we're at, and we'll play some music. And
Absolutely.
In the meantime, I'll keep listening to Cruising Country Radio. Thank you so much, amigo, for all your help and all you do. Okay.
All right, man. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for cruising along with us on the Dave Roush Show today. And don't forget to catch us every Monday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on Cruising Country Radio, where the best in country music meets engaging conversation. Missed an episode? Episodes will be replayed on Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Until next time, keep the music playing and the good times rolling. See you next Monday on the Dave Roush Show. I have the wonderful Janine Tarana and J. Mark Bailey. Just remember, Cruising Country Radio. All country, all original, all the time. This is Dave. We're out.